but in the middle of your speech, and you can call me out on being a liberal snowflake or whatever about my feelings, but then you, in the middle of your speech, I think this was hate speech, you made fun of transgenders. Well,
I made fun of one person who grabbed me by the back of the neck and threatened me with violence, to be fair.
I mean, yes, but also Caitlyn Jenner, and you seem to be making, You were clearly making jokes at the expense of transgender people. So my question is, where do you draw the line between being a mensch and clearly offending people? Like, where do you draw the line?
Okay, so for me, if I coldly and clearly state a fact and you're offended by the fact, that's not me being responsible for offending you. That's me saying a fact and you being offended. As far as me making jokes about Zoe Tur, my general rule is that if somebody grabs me by the back of the neck and threatens me with violence on national television, I have the right to make fun of them. That's just as when I was at University of Wisconsin, if people are going to chant at me and yell at me, then I'm not going to treat them with courtesy because they are not deserving of courtesy. Courtesy is something that you earn by being courteous.
Okay, fine. I understand that, but it just seems a little bit hypocritical to brag about the fact that you openly humiliated someone on national television while also telling people to be mensches. I just think that's a little.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way: my belief is in mutually assured destruction. So if you're going to, if you attempt to again do me physical harm on national TV, then I'm not going to treat you with a level of respect that you have not earned. I mean, I'm treating you with respect, and we disagree, right? Because you're courteous. So thank you for that.
Hi. I just have a couple of questions of clarification. So,
sure.
You touched on it a little bit towards the end of your lecture, but if you could describe more, I guess, elaborate more on what you mean by decency and these fundamental values, especially in light of the statements that you just made in response to the question, not this last question, but before this, recognizing the fluidity of culture and cultural values and the existence of cultures that don't necessarily share the same values, and how do you account for that, moving towards a common set of values? How do you, if you believe that it is useful, develop coalition politics in order to move towards a collective sense of value? How do you reconcile individual motivation if you believe fundamentally?
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity here, but yes.
Yeah, but honestly, these are high-stakes questions.
Not to go all religious on you, but leaving aside the religious aspects of the Ten Commandments, I think that would be a pretty good place to start with basic decency. Right? Don't steal, I'm a deeply religious person. I'm an Orthodox Jew. I don't think that it's mandated that everybody believe in God, obviously, and I think that, and I understand the arguments for atheism. That said, I think that, basic values that we in Western civilization tend to share, things like you don't get to kill people, you don't get to kidnap people. I think that values that have developed later, anti-slavery values, for example, that are a later breaking development from Western civilization, but have roots in Judeo-Christian civilization. Those are values that are fundamental values of decency. The ones embodied in the Constitution seem to me to be good values. Like, I don't get to harm you because I don't get to use the government as a club against you because I disagree with what you say. I don't get to use the government as a club against you because I disagree with your religious practice that doesn't infringe on me. I have sort of a John Stuart Mill view of interpersonal decency when it comes to governmental intervention, and that is I get to wave my fist around as much as I want so long as it doesn't hit your face.
I just wonder about the slipperiness of that, right? Because that same value system has been used to justify a number of things that I think we would understand to be fundamentally unjust.
Well, give me an example. So as I say, the John Stuart Mill system would definitely not value slavery. I mean, that's not me waving my fist around until I hit your face. That's me putting you in chains. I mean, that's a fundamental human evil because I'm violating somebody else's rights. So it's the basic value that originally springs from the notion that we're all created in God's image, and then consummates in the idea that we're all equal under God, and that we all have equal rights under God. That doesn't allow things like slavery, and it fights against things like slavery. Now, where I think that some people get dicey about this, and I don't want to lead you here, but I think this is where some people get dicey about this idea, is they say, okay, well, what about the things where I'm waving my fist around and I'm not formally hitting you in the face, but you're getting me upset? So, for example, if you have a private business and the private business decides to discriminate against Jews, right, or decides to discriminate against blacks or against gays, right, what would you do about that? So I don't think the government has any business telling private businesses what to do, because I think that capitalism is colorblind, and that means that if somebody discriminates against Jews or blacks or gays, they'll go out of business. There will be other people who offer their services.